right if you have an opinion. I'm saying it's not all right if you don't understand how the female reproductive system works.
Let's pop quiz. When does heartbeats begin for babies in utero?
Have you ever eaten an egg before? That's yes or no. Have you ever eaten an egg before?
Scrambled, yeah.
Okay, so would that be you scrambled a full chicken?
Well, hold on. You understand that it takes an egg to be fertilized?
Right, uh-huh.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Your point,
so,
the whole
so,
point you're making
hold
is
on.
that
So,
a
but no,
baby...
since we're doing pop quiz on, like, human development, so when exactly do heart waves begin in utero?
You know that, but you don't know the four
Hold on, no,
cycles.
so tell me when heartbeat...
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know.
No.
So wait, hold on. So you're trying to say I know more about the woman reproductive system than you do?
I am a woman, so yes.
Yes, okay, well, but the point being is we could both go back and forth of, like, independent trivial facts when it comes to the woman's reproductive system, but here's something we all know, because God wrote this on the human heart of every individual, as it says in the book of Romans. We know, deep down, it's wrong to murder a baby.
You're not murdering a baby. It's not a baby.
Okay, well, let's play this out. What is it, then?
It is an embryo, which is not a baby.
Well, okay, so it's a fertilized embryo.
Correct, which is not a baby.
So at what point does it become a baby?
When it is born.
Oh.
I don't agree with abortions up to full-term abortions.
Well, hold on, but you said it becomes a baby when it's born.
Yes.
Then why would you have abortion limits before it's born? I thought it's just an embryo. So embryo rights?
No, the embryo rights aren't a thing.
But then where would you draw a line for abortion then, and why, and under what moral standard?
There are medical reasons not to have an abortion
No, that's
for
not the
full-term.
question. That's not the
Yes, it is.
question.
You just asked me why would I not have an abortion full-term for medical reasons.
Okay, so at 29 weeks, the baby is nearly fully developed, can recognize the mother's voice, has a heartbeat, has brain waves. Is it okay to abort that baby?
It's not okay, but you're going to say it's okay to have an abortion then. I don't understand what you're trying to say. It's not okay to have an abortion ever? How
Correct.
about 3
Yes.
weeks in?
Correct. No
Right.
abortion. Correct.
Why?
Well, because your life started at conception.
It did not, though. It did not.
Well, hold on. So let's play this out. So who are you as an individual? From your skin color to your eye color to your likes, your dislikes, from your temperament to your everything.
I am not an embryo. I'm a person.
Hold on a second. But it started with something called deoxyribonucleic acid. And your own individual DNA started at the point of egg and sperm meeting. That's where your journey started. And so from that point in particular, life begins. Not at birth, not at first words, not at first steps, but when your DNA, which is who you actually are. You are your DNA. Every one of your DNA cells is coded XX or XY. It's coded with all of your unique characteristics and attributes that we believe God individually curated for the rest of your life. That doesn't happen at 8 weeks or 10 weeks. It happens at conception.
What happens if you need a medical abortion? If the mother will die if she does not get an abortion?
So
what's your stance on
the
that?
The only place where medical abortion is necessary is before 20 weeks, which is incredibly rare.
What if she will die? What if the mother will die?
Hold on a second. So let's take, for example, this is a very important question. Let's say it's 27 weeks, okay? And the mother will die. Why shouldn't, you could agree, why don't we just have the baby delivered by cesarean section? You know what a cesarean section is, right?
Yes.
What is a cesarean section?
A C-section?
Yeah, why wouldn't we just put the baby out by C-section instead of terminating it?
Because if the mother will die, it's not safe to do that.
You remove the baby.
I understand.
Threat removed.
I know what a C-section is.
But it's actually safer than an abortion. So every time they say, this is for you guys, they say, oh, you need to have abortion for medical reasons, respond, then have a C-section.
What if you're not able to have a C-section? What if you are on your deathbed, you need to have an abortion right now?
Well, again, but...
And it's illegal. You can't, so you have to die.
First and foremost, C-section is safer, C-section is quicker, and a C-section saves both lives. A C-section
The baby is already dead, you just said.
No, but even... No. Hold on a second. You're saying if the baby's already dead, then it isn't even an abortion, right? Then you're talking about a removal of a carcass, which is a completely different medical operation.
So you're saying that's okay if you're having...
If you're If you're removing a carcass of a baby, that is not an abortion. By definition.
It's the same process.
No, it's completely different. During an abortion, they actually inject the spinal fluid with cyanide poisoning as the baby squirms and tries to find its mother, and it is gasping for air of life. Have you ever watched an abortion? It is one of the... Yeah, actually I have. And I encourage every human being to watch one to know what you are fighting against. Because when you see abortion, you will have your life will be changed. That we allow the massacre of 1.5 million babies a year under the guise of woman reproductive health. We are allowing babies every single year to just say, you know, we're going to discard them. Why? Oh, they're smaller. They're not humans. You're using dehumanizing language saying, oh, it's an embryo. No, that's a baby made in the image of God, deserving of protection.
What do you do with those children once they're born into a bad household?
So now we've transitioned to, like, what do you do with the kids?
Right.
Glad we're past the other part of the argument, okay? What do you do with them? You know there's twice as many people on the adoption waiting list than there are abortions every single year?
And they're still on the list. So you want to send a child into an orphanage? Well, is that what you want for a child? Is that a good life for a child?
No, I'm not advocating that. In fact, I'm advocating to make it easier to be able to adopt, number one. Number two, there's no such thing as an unwanted child. Number three, it is never right to justify the mass elimination or termination of people under the guise of saying they're unwanted. That's how we get Auschwitz. That's how we get the greatest horrors of the 20th century. Those people are unwanted.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
It's really not. I don't think
it's 45 million babies. It's nearly 8 times worse than the Holocaust. What's the moral difference between a small baby in the womb and a grown Jew who was killed at Auschwitz? What's the moral difference? One is older.
Is a person?
What species is the baby in the womb?
It's a human, but
therefore
it's an
they should have human rights.
No.
They should have human rights.
I do not agree.
Oh, so small humans, no human rights. Grown humans, human rights.
It's not a small human. It's an embryo.
You just said it was a human species.
It's not a living human child.
Wait, it's not a what?
It's not a child.
But
it's not a living child.
It has a heartbeat. It has brain waves.
That does not make it a child.
But tell me when it becomes a child then.
I already told you, when it is born.
Again, so under every other objective definition, you see, guys, how quickly the pro-abortion arguments fall apart with just the slightest questioning? But our position is one rooted not in feelings, not in personal autonomy, but one in biological consistency and reality. That your life had an agreed-upon starting point, that starting point should be protected and preserved. And the excuses given for abortion is dehumanization. Oh, it's just an embryo. Guys, that's just using different language to justify the massacre of something smaller than you. That's all that it is.
Give me your perspective on DEI, and because based on what I heard earlier, I feel like you don't think I belong here.
Oh,
because
really?
Of
Why?
How I am a black man, and because of DEI, I'm not qualified enough to be here. Yes, I am.
Okay, great, then you belong.
But why do I have to prove that to you?
You don't. You brought it up, I didn't.
Okay, but can you explain to me your position on DEI?
Yes, people should not be in positions just because of the color of their skin. Hard stop.
Okay, but do you feel like I'm here because
I'm not feeling anything towards you, actually. Okay, I'm not prejudicing you. I'm not stereotyping you. I'm saying that it's a material.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are.
No, you are. You said I don't feel comfortable being here. You started with.
I didn't say I wasn't comfortable being here. I said I feel like you made it to where I got here through DEI.
So let's examine that. What have I said that makes you feel that way?
When you mentioned how DEI is only just putting people of color and marginalized groups in spaces, even if they're not so
correct.
Qualified.
That's exactly what DEI does.
But that's not all that it does. You're categorizing it as something it isn't.
No, that's exactly that is the charter missions.
That's not all.
Okay, so diversity, equity. So equity is outcome based. Okay. Is about making people who are of different skin colors have the same outcome, regardless whether or not they are qualified. The best example we have of this is the Students for Fair Admission Harvard Supreme Court case, where black students. They could have a SAT score 300 points lesser than the Asian equivalent and still get into Harvard. That is DEI in practice. I believe when you're hiring for an organization or for a company or for whatever you are doing, you should prioritize merit and character, and race should mean nothing. We should build around things that matter and not things that don't matter.
Okay, but you have to also take into the fact that black people have only been able to completely legally be able to make profit for themselves for around 60 years. And this is, no. Since segregation ended in 1965 and the Equal Rights Act in 1965. So, what you're telling, there's not.
How does that, so let's talk about you. How did that impact you? How did something that happened 60 years ago impact your life?
It impacts me all the time.
How?
What do you, okay.
You're at Texas A&M, you're doing great.
Okay, yes, sure, yeah.
So aren't you a living example that all that's a bunch of nonsense and you could just act good and, you know, behave well and succeed?
But there's also living examples of the exact opposite. If you look in the impoverished neighborhoods in certain parts of Chicago or St. Louis, there's black communities being thrown aside because they're not getting education.
Thrown aside? Okay,
yes,
so I think we can get somewhere. Why have the black community gotten poorer since the passage of the Civil Rights Act? Tell me that.
Because of the way the culture has been perpetuated through the years.
Hold on, think about it. So they were richer when we were segregated and more racist. America's become less racist.
What about Tulsa?
Yeah, no one's going to defend what happened in Tulsa again. But let's talk. We're talking about a lot of different cities. We're talking about Chicago, Tulsa. But let's again. This is a very important point. Do you think the fact that 70% of black youth don't have a dad around is probably pretty important?
That's because of the culture. What I mentioned
so
earlier.
Respectfully allow me to interject. How does the white culture impact the fact whether or not a black dad stays around when he impregnates a woman?
I'm not saying it's the white culture.
What is it?
The culture that has been perpetuated through the 200 years of slavery, the 100 years of segregation, and Jim Crow laws.
The marriage, so I got to interject again. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt too much. But in 1960, before the Civil Rights Act, 20% of black youth had a dad around. Now it's, 20% were single fathers, 80% had a dad around. It's been inverted. So we actually have seen black dads run away from their kids the last 60 years. Why is that?
Because of the raised incarceration rates, because of the perpetuated culture.
So how does one go to jail?
That's obvious. I'm not answering that question.
Yeah, so maybe it's because they committed crimes?
Okay, but when you're forced for, it's not just this is old, this is in the past, this doesn't affect you anymore.
Okay, so actually let's take a different group. How did the Holocaust impact Jews? They're doing pretty well.
Well, because they got reparations, we didn't.
How? What reparations did the Jews get?
Through acknowledgement, through money, through
we acknowledge slavery happened. So,
okay, but you're sitting here and acting like it plays no role.
No, but to your argument, the Holocaust was 80 years ago. Half of all the Jews on the planet were killed. Everything they earned was taken. Jews are doing great. If all of a sudden something that happened 80 years ago impacts your material prosperity, how did Jews defy the curve? How did poor Asians do so well? Why is it that Asians are now the wealthiest minority in America, many of whom came with no money in the 1950s or 60s?
Because of the culture and opportunities that were provided to them.
But you're not hearing me out. Black Americans have had the same opportunities. However,
people still look at us like criminals every day.
Hold on, but I don't look at you like a criminal.
I'm not saying you do, I'm saying some people do.
But I mean, do you want me to be brutally honest with you, or do you want me to be politically correct?
Brutally honest with you.
Okay, do black people commit more crimes than white people? It's not even close.
Okay, but you have to take into account the culture that has been perpetuated.
Okay, got it. So we can agree on this. Do you mean internal black culture?
It's not. It's deeper than that. Like,
do you think? Let's take time out. Do you think the average rap artist that a black kid in the hood is listening to is glorifying marriage and family and saving your money?
That's what sells because it's a culture thing. It's not just within the black community.
I agree. No, but hold on.
Everyone listens to it. It's not just isolated.
It's bad for everyone who listens to it. The point being is that black youth, as they are being raised, their role models are largely not glorifying staying with one woman, getting married, going to church. And if you're wrong, show me the black role models that are doing that. There might be a couple I could think of, maybe. But if it's about culture, you're right. The internal black culture has collapsed the last 60 years. We're no longer elevating the family. We're no longer elevating staying with the person that you're with. So our contention here as conservatives is that the systemic racism stuff is a bunch of rubbish. Instead, it's systemic bad choices.
Do you feel that systemic racism isn't real?
Of course not. What can I do that you can't do? Name it.
Okay.
No, seriously. What can I do that you can't do?
Fallacy. That's a slippery slope.
No, it's not.
I don't know why you're
Very simple. No, because back in 1940, you would have been able to answer that question. Well, Charlie, there's a bathroom over there that I can't go to. There's a major league team.
I can't walk into the grocery store and get the same looks that you do. I walked into Brookshire Brothers a couple of weeks ago when I was looked at.
That's an insanely hyper-paranoid way of living life.
But
that's not evidence, right?
It's a real example.
By the way, if I walk into a black neighborhood, I get bad looks too, okay? So I don't know what the contention is.
Because of the way you treat our culture and the way you perpetuate.
Oh, wait, hold on. The way we treat your culture, we have gone to such great calisthenics and ridiculous gymnastics to prove that we're not racist. In fact, it's the worst thing that you could be called in America. We had, during George Floyd 2020, we had hundreds of millions of dollars given to Black Lives Matter. I don't know where that money went. Did it improve material worth of Black America? So, I mean, and we actually do know where it went, actually. And so, but going back to your main contention, when you practice DEI, because that was your main point, right? You are rewarding bad culture. You even acknowledge it. You are saying that someone should be there based on the color of their skin. We say skin color doesn't matter. If you want that position, work harder, study harder, and then you might be able to get that position.
When we're forced into underfunded communities where schools are based off of property value, we can't.
Well, actually, school choice is now the law of the land here in Texas,
okay,
so that's not correct. Secondly,
do you just expect a single-parent home to pick up and move into some rich neighborhood?
Well, again, so let's go back to why are they the single-parent home?
Because the hundreds of years.
Do you believe in the maxim or the belief that you should take responsibility for your decisions?
It's not just one person's decisions. It's so much deeper than that.
See,
why are you trying to?
That's where you and I have a different belief. You believe in this.
It's not. It's a fact.
No, it's a belief. Again, you have to tell me then, why do Jews do so well? Holocaust didn't impact their material worth. How did Asians do so well? And by the way, even more so, why are Hispanics getting so much wealthier? If we were so racist, why are Hispanics all of a sudden gaining income the last 20 years? There's something.
It's a difference in culture. I don't know why y'all are clapping. But it's a difference in culture. The way that each culture is treated is so vastly different in America.
But again, you have to tell me, other than bad looks at the grocery store, how else is your future, you as a man in America, not a black man, how is your future somehow restricted by racism?
My natural hair is seen as unprofessional when I go into an office or workplace. When I walk around in certain places, people just assume, like I've said earlier, the dirty looks. When people think you are automatically the worst of the worst solely because
we don't think that.
You've interrupted me like 10 times
because
now.
you think you know what white people think, and you don't.
I don't know what white people think.
Then why do you keep on saying you know what white people think?
Because I've seen it. I'm not
you've
saying
seen our thoughts?
I've seen what people have done to me and people who look like me around the world and in America.
How? Again, you are. Let's just make an example. You are here in the wealthiest country ever,
yes,
at an amazing university with all the opportunity imaginable in front of you. And all you want to do is look backwards at everything that prevented you when you are a glaring example that there is no systemic racism and you can actually achieve your wildest dreams.
Whoa, I never said that. Hey, I'm not the only black person who exists out there. There's so many people who this culture is affecting to this day.
Do you know black Americans are the richest black people on earth? You cannot find a black majority country or any country where black people have significant representation where they are as wealthy, because even the poorest people in America are in the top 5%, the top 2% of wealth around the world. And so my whole belief is stop acting like you're a victim and start making better choices.
Not acting like a victim, whoa.
So I wanted to speak to you about sex and gender. I think we have a disagreement there. I feel like we can agree on sex. There are male, female, you're either born male, female, or in some cases, some instances, there's a case of intersex persons. But I think our disagreement lays with your interpretation or your take on gender and how it's directly linked to sex. And I just kind of want to see where, what's your thoughts on gender, or what's your take? Because I'm not quite sure. I'm not really caught up on what you've.
Sure. So gender's a made-up concept. Do you know who made it up?
Who made it up?
A guy by the name of John Money in the 1960s. Well, why did he make it up?
No, I was going to say, technically anything be a made-up concept?
No, sex is not made up. You can look at sex. XX and XY chromosomes are not made up. A and a are not made up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're on the same page about
So
that.
sex is observing. Gender is creating something new. Totally different. We observe nature. Gender is creating a new thing out of thin air that has no applicability to our discourse or dialogue. So there are 0 genders, 2 sexes, infinite personalities. We recognize that people have different personalities. We don't think you should get a different definition on the forms you fill out or how people talk to you, recognize you, or how you are treated.
So when it comes to defining or looking at and seeing what or who is a man or a woman, it only refers to sex, like if they have a sort of, is that
Correct.
correct?
Yeah. And it's worked really well for all of humanity. We decided to screw it up the last 20 years.
But what about with like societal implications with the way what's it called, gender, with the way gender is expressed? You could, for example, you could have a you could be a trans. Let me take this for example. If I was transgender, say I was born female, but with the way I present myself, if I shaved my mustache. I shave my mustache, I dress like a male. When I'm walking down the street, you would think what would you think I am?
What I think is irrelevant. You can disguise yourself to look something you are not. I can wear blackface. Do I become black?
No, of course
Oh,
not.
so wait, hold on. Then a man dresses like a woman, why does he become a woman?
It's not that he becomes a woman, it's he's seen and he's
But then
seen
why should
as
he be
a woman.
recognized as something that he's not?
It's not that it's not that they need to be recognized.
Oh, no, that's what it's all about. It's about recognizing a delusion. You can dress however you wish. You can act however you wish, but I'm not going to recognize your lie. In fact, you could get in trouble for mispronouncing in the state of California. We're teaching our kids you must pronoun correctly, and you actually have to certify the delusion. So again, I say if I wear blackface and I don't become black, why does a man who wear a dress become a woman?
It's not. I feel like it's not up for someone. I feel like it's not up for you to decide. I think it's up for the individual, and I think the way they express themselves through the way they express themselves through their through their apparel, through their attire. I think that's more indicative of
Okay,
how
then
society,
let's play this out. If everyone can just choose however they want, should biological men who are born as a man be able to compete in female sports? I'm asking.
No, I don't believe that biological men should be in women's sports.
And God bless you for saying that, because that's at. So here's another question: should biological men who identify as women be able to go into women's locker rooms?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Biological man, so and he says he's a woman. Should he be allowed to go into female locker rooms?
I mean, no. We have on campus. We have all gender restrooms on campus where males and females are.
I think that's a terrible idea, right? So, because male-female distinctions are critically important. It's how society is structured.
Yeah, but we have these shared spaces, and there hasn't been any sort of issues, or I think the major consensus surrounding it is that people are actually enjoy the the all gender bathrooms.
Let's talk about locker rooms, though. Do you think women would enjoy undressing next to a fully unclothed man?
No, I don't think so. I don't.
Okay, so then we should prohibit that. So we agree. So, and then finally, do you think that a young 15-year-old here in California, a young boy who thinks he is a girl, should he be allowed to chop his off?
Can you say that again from the start? Real quick.
15-year-old boy in California. He thinks he's transgender.
Okay.
Should he be allowed to go chop his parts off?
Should he be allowed? I think that's a conversation for him and his medical and his doctor and his family. I mean, It's not my job to.
Should 15-year-olds be allowed to get tattoos?
Should 15-year-olds be allowed to get tattoos? No.
So you could, but you can't get a tattoo.
I don't think that's really that comparative.
Well, they're both irreversible, right? Actually, one matters a lot more for human flourishing than the other.
No, I would definitely agree. It's a very It's a very life-altering process, and I think it requires a lot of time, and it requires a lot of time, and it shouldn't be something that should be just jumped into. I just think that's something for an individual and their family and their doctors to decide, and not for society or the state.
Last question, most important question: what is a woman?
A woman, you know it when you see it. You know. It's like if I look, she looks like a woman. 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 It's the way you express yourself. So, like, all these, it's the way you express yourself.
So if you basically womanhood is a costume.
I'm not saying that. No.
No, it is. Yeah, if you're able to wear the right stuff and just assume the identity, you can appropriate womanhood. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, is Caitlyn Jenner a woman?
Yes.
Why?
Why is she a woman?
What chromosomes does Caitlyn Jenner have?
I mean, I think her chromosomes don't have to deal with her gender. Like, I think that's where the disagreement lies. Is that
Yeah. Again, so this is where you are playing into this narrative that gender exists. We reject that paradigm completely, because gender has led us to this place that your own personal self-expression matters to your core identity. And again, that means nothing. Infinite personalities, no genders, two sexes. And we must live in reality, not in the delusions of the heads of people that want us to accommodate their fantasy. Thank you very much for your time.